All right, let's get into it. What if you want to write a book, but you don't want to do it yourself? What are your alternatives? And what are the costs involved in such a process? Greetings, Apreneurs. Welcome to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, the show that uncovers the secrets to win with books beyond book sales and dominate authorpreneurship. Through exclusive author interviews, stories, and must-have resources, you will discover some of the secrets and strategies to thrive with books and generate lasting income. I invite you to become an Authorpreneur ambassador and join me in my mission to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030. Spread the word about the podcast and encourage more people to increase their impact and income with books beyond book sales. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Greetings, Apreneurs. It's episode 133 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Ruth Taylor, and in today's show, we are going to be looking at how much it costs to get someone to write your book for you, otherwise known as ghostwriting or even book coaching. And last week, we looked at how much it costs to publish a book. So this is a good follow-up to that, because before you can publish a book, you need to have a written draft of the book. You need to have your manuscript. We'll also be looking at the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. When this episode airs, the summit will be in 4 days. It's going to be January 19 to 20. That's Friday to Saturday. 4 live sessions looking at AI, looking at writing and publishing made easy and cost effectively done. We're going to be looking at author success stories. We're going to be looking at copyright. We're going to look at Caribbean Authorpreneur rock stars. We're going to be launching our Vision 2030 Authorpreneur campaign officially. And we're going to be shedding some light on some Caribbean publishers. These are authors who went from being an author to being a book publisher, and you don't want to miss that. So stay tuned. Book publishing has many paths, and just figuring out where to go at each stage can be confusing. But with insights and guidance from author experts just like us, you can tackle the writing process competently and be assured that the goal of being a published author is within reach. Welcome to the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, the place for Caribbean authors to shine. With each staging of our summit, leading Caribbean author experts at home and in the diaspora share their stories and strategies to win with books beyond book sales. In the process, aspiring and published authors are inspired and lives are transformed. The Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit will ensure that fewer books die in the minds of their authors, more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of each page. All right, just before we answer the question, how much does it cost to publish? The latest in my authorpreneurship venture is the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. Remember that your book is not just a product to sell, it's a vehicle for a vision. The question is, what is your vision? And like I said, the Authorpreneur Summit is coming up. And rather than me trying to convince you to come to the summit this weekend, Friday to Saturday, January 19 to 20, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to allow my co-host, Raquel Newman, to tell you why you need to come to the summit. So stay tuned for that.
So my advice to anybody who is on the fence about coming to the summit is to get off the fence. Now, there's so much information that you can learn from the summit. Even if you don't become an ASA member, you're still going to get tons of value.
This is Raquel Newman. She calls herself the Albino Marketer, and she has a book, The Albino Marketer, and it's about finding success online despite being legally blind. Raquel has been quite instrumental in the establishment of this summit. And so today she's going to share her perspectives on why this summit and what you can expect from it and why you should be a part of it. So Raquel, talk to us. How did you get involved in the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit?
All right, so I got involved in the summit because of the close friendship that I have with Ruth. And so, I've heard the vision, and having heard the vision multiple times, in thinking, I'm like, one of the best ways to really get the message across and to share the value that you have to share with everyone is really with a summit. And I've seen other summits done successfully before. And, I figured, why not? Let's do a summit. And when we bounced with the ideas and it was really accepted, and we just decided to run with it. And so this is really how I got involved in it. I really embraced Ruth's vision. I saw and continue to see the benefits of authorpreneurship for fellow Caribbean citizens and the diaspora. And I figured, what better way to be a part of history in the making than to be a part of the summit?
Thank you so much. You talked about the vision of authorpreneurship. In your words, what is the vision that we're trying to push in the summit year after year? And what is authorpreneurship to you?
All right, so I think it might be best for me to start with the last question. So for me, authorpreneurship is not just about writing a book and making money by selling the book. And far too often, authors, they write the book and they hope to make it big from just writing the book and selling the book. And they don't see a bigger vision beyond just somebody reading the book. And so authorpreneurship for me now is taking it a step further, is taking your book and turning it into a business. And so this means using your book to create maybe a course, using your book to perhaps do consulting. I mean, there's so many possibilities from your books, not just boom, I have the book and I've sold the book. There are so many other ideas that have come from the book. One chapter from the book, you could really take that, depending on the type of book that you have, and you can take that and build a business. So for me, authorpreneurship is you have your book and you're making sales from your book, but also your book has now created another business for you, whether it's a course, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, you name it. And in my own words, our authorpreneurship vision is really to have other Caribbean authors embrace our message, embrace what we are trying to share, and then go out there and train other people. Because we have a vision of raising up more authorpreneurs by 2030, 10,000 authorpreneurs by 2030. And we can't do it alone.
Right.
We need other people to come through and share our message. And then as such, when we have the summit and we invite you into the ASA Authorpreneur Secret Academy, we're training you to now eventually go out there and train other people and raise up other entrepreneurs. One tell many. So the vision of the summit is, if we can get one person to catch on to the vision, if that spark, that song, it only takes a spark to get a fire going. So when one spark jump off from us and jump into somebody else, then that person, they could be in the Bahamas, they could be in England, they could be in Africa, you name it. When they come to us and they catch the vision, then we give them the tools needed, they will go out there and they will share it with the world.
Thank you. That was beautifully put. And I am, even more motivated. For those of you who don't know the vision, as Raquel said, by 2030, we want to raise up 10,000 entrepreneurs. And it is simple. If we get 100 authors to encourage 10 other authors to write a book, publish it affordably, and then build some kind of service around that, then you're an entrepreneur. So if 100 get 10, that's 1,000. And if those 1,000 get another 10, that's 10,000. And that is certainly doable by 2030. And so when we have the summit, we invite you to come and learn, and we expose you to other Caribbean authors who are doing it, whether it's children's book, whether it's fiction, non-fiction, and we take you through the process. And the summit is an example of entrepreneurship. It is based on the book Authorpreneur Secrets. And you heard Raquel talk about the academy. That is host summit. So that is my private membership group where we do coaching and consultancy, and we have a ton of tutorials and resources in there to help you know to do it. And we also certify you as publishing coaches or publishing services providers so that you can go there and raise up persons. So any final words, Raquel, to somebody who's on the fence, they don't know if this summit is for them?
So my advice to anybody who is on the fence about coming to the summit is to get off the fence. Now, there's so much information that you can learn from the summit. Even if you don't become an ASA member, you're still going to get tons of value. Really, when you come to the summit, you're not only going to learn about how to write a book fast, how to publish it, how to do it affordably, and how to generate a business from your book. But you're also going to get valuable life lessons, because we are interviewing authors, and it is not just sharing about the authorpreneur world. It is also sharing about multiple things. One year, I believe it was the first year, we had the author of Ring Ready, and I can tell you, I learned so much from that book
about
as a single person about relationships.
Awesome. And that's why the tagline for the summit is Beyond Book Sales. The summit is also personal development. So it's publishing and it's personal development. And so you're going to get stories to inspire you. We want to encourage you to come on out. The promos are going out, and just go to the summit page, the schedule page, authorpreneursecrets.com/summit schedule, and you see a breakdown of all our speakers. Michael Lauren is the only non-Caribbean person on the summit, and we're going to adopt him, you know. All right. I trust that Raquel has convinced you of why you need to come to the summit this weekend. Spread the word. Go to authorpreneursecrets.com and register. The summit details are right there on the front page. And if you want to get the schedule and updates, register, or just go to authorpreneursecrets.com/summit schedule. It will be streamed in the Authorpreneurs Facebook group and also on YouTube. And the videos will be left there on YouTube for you to watch the replay. In previous years, we would put them behind a paywall, but we've decided not to do that, because we're going to do everything in our power to raise up those 10,000 entrepreneurs. And the summit is a big recruiting drive for both publishers and authors. And so spread the word, and see you on Friday and Saturday. All right, let's get into it. What if you want to write a book, but you don't want to do it yourself? What are your alternatives, and what are the costs involved in such a process? So just like I did last week, I'm going to introduce you to 3 options. One of them is through the Authorpreneur Secret Academy, and I am the one who coaches persons in that aspect. I've done it for a number of clients. Last year, I did it for one of my professors, Dr. Jeremy Graves. His book is on leadership. It's called The Leader Paradox. And before that, I assisted Javette Nixon in that process. His book is From the Margins. And I also assisted Miss Lorraine Smith in getting her book out through the tiers I rise. Outside of that, every year I have an annual rocket writing competition where I teach persons to write their books. And I have rocket writing boot camps where persons are able to get out the content from their head onto paper, even without writing it, in an 8-hour or 6-hour session. Or we can do that over a 24-hour period or within 4 weeks. My process is that we outline the book and then you voice the chapters. So we would have outlined our chapters, outline the content of the book, and then we set about chapter building, whereby you give me the content by way of speaking it. And that's how we go faster. And if you have written material, you also supply that. And then I organize that. And within 30 days, you can have a book. Or if you go a little bit slower and maybe you send me the content each week, certainly within 2 months, you would have a book. And that's my rocket writing process. When I say I have a book, you have the draft of the manuscript ready and it is structurally edited. And then we can go on to the publication phase where you're going to do the copy editing, the proofreading, and all of that. So if you go on my website, authorpreneursecrets.com, and if you go to authorpreneursecrets.com/the academy, you will see the offerings of the academy, and one of them is a Rocket-Writing Bootcamp. So that can be a virtual bootcamp or an in-person bootcamp in my Rocket-Writing studio, where I take you through the process. And you can do the bootcamp in 1 day, or we can do that over several sessions online. And some of it you can even do it yourself once I coach you in the process. So this is a special guided book creation process. It's not the typical ghostwriting thing where we are coming up with all the words. You actually voice the chapters, you give us the information, and then I polish that and you get a book. What's the cost of that? If you're only doing the boot camp, it is $1,800, and that covers up to 8 hours of speaking and the transcribing. If you have more to say, then the transcription would be an extra $30 per hour. If you want to do it, the boot camp in person, that's an extra $200. And for every additional month of consultation, it's $300 per month. So that would give you about, on average, $2,300 to get the book out in 30 to 60 days. If the process drags out, you're going to pay more, right? If you need my supervision all the way through to publishing, although the publishing is done through Bamboo Sparks, but if you still need consultation and coaching, it's the extra $300 per month. And the process of writing the book can be anywhere between 3 and 6 months. I tend to do it fast, hence I'm called a rocket writer. And so you're looking at about $2,300 or at maximum $3,000 for that. That's how much it costs through the Authorpreneur Secret Academy for someone to coach you or guide you in getting the book out without you writing it yourself. So in other words, you would speak your book under my guidance, and that's the cost there. And I'll put the links in the show notes. You can go to authorpreneursecrets.com/rocket-writing, and you see a breakdown of that process. Then let's go over to Happy Self-Publishing. They also have writing services. They're not paying me, but they're also approved by the Alliance of Independent Authors. They have what they call their Book Builder program, where you go from only dreaming about your book to actually finishing your manuscript in 3 months or less. So the time period is the same. They call it a white glove book writing experience for successful service-based entrepreneurs who want more impact and influence. And they essentially have 2 packages. They have their book builder method, whereas I have my rocket writing book creation method. They have their book builder method, and they give you a 30-minute kickoff call to start, to set you up for success. They have 12 coaching calls with their author success coach to give you guidance, clarity, criticism. They help you to come up with your copyright, your forward, your dedication, the beginning parts of the book, the closing parts of the book, all of that, what goes into it. You get 12 interview calls with their carefully vetted angel writer who will convert your expertise into a manuscript without you typing a single word. And they will help you in terms of choosing your topic and creating your outline, and they give you weekly check-ins and ideas to create like your reader magnet and that thing. And the two packages that they have listed here, one is a curator package where they write the book for you. So it's suitable for busy service-based entrepreneurs. So this is the total, they interview and write it for you. That one is $8,999. And it's a small book they're talking about of up to 30,000 words, similar to what I do in the Rocket-Writing program. And then additional words, there's additional cost for that. I think it's $799 US for every 10,000 words, I believe, above 30,000, right? And then the next package where you write with their guidance. In other words, they're coaching you and you are writing it. This is a book coaching. They'll assign an author success coach to you to keep you accountable and guide you. That's $4,999 US. So I would call that their guided writing program or book coaching program there, which would be similar to our Rocket-Writing program, except in that you're the one writing. In the Rocket-Writing program that I have, you're only talking and sending me any existing content, and I put it together. You'll be talking through your chapters. Here for the $4,999, you're basically just getting book coaching guidance while you write. The one where they write for you after doing the interviews and helping you to design the book, outline the content, that's $8,999. So book writing, ghostwriting isn't cheap. And even as much as you see there with Happy Self-Publishing, $8,999, depending on who is doing it for you. If you were doing the ghostwriting for a famous politician or like Hillary Clinton or somebody else, it can go up to like 250,000 US. And then at the end of the process, your name is not necessarily called. It is the author's name that goes on the book, right? So many of these movie stars and famous persons, they use ghostwriters. And so Happy Self-Publishing is between $4,999, call it $5,000, and $8,999, which is $9,000. Through the Authorpreneur Secret Academy, via my Rocket-Writing Bootcamp, you will be paying anywhere between $2,300 and $3,000, maybe $500. That is the cost there. And then finally, we're going to look at the Editing Freelancing Association rates. So if you want to know typical rates to price your services, whether that is editing or cover designing and those things, the Editorial Freelancing Association also has a rate sheet that covers a number of these things, and you can go on their website and check it out. So what they're saying in terms of ghostwriting, they have the cost here. If it is ghostwriting a full-length fiction book, which sometimes is between 50,000 and 100,000 words, and this is work for hire, meaning that they will own the content after you've paid them, it's $51 to $60 per hour. So I find when I'm doing the whole process that you can have the book done and ready for publication. The number of hours you spend on that is between 30 and 40 hours on average when I do it for a 30,000 word book. So can you imagine if it is $51 to $60 per hour, and it takes 30 hours to get, or 24 hours to get the whole thing done, because that's my jam, right? Idea to book in 24 hours. That would be 24 times 60. That's $1,440 dollars. And then now there's going to be time now to polish that, and the meeting time and all of those things. It's going to cost more. And then you have, that's the time, then you have the expertise. And they say that it is 1 to 3 pages makes up an hour, or they say is 0.9 cents to 10 cents per word for that. So when you look at the calculation there, it's really rounded out to about if it's a 30,000 word book, it's $3,000 there. If it is a work for hire nonfiction book, or like the memoir and other types, it's higher. So ghostwriting or help for writing nonfiction book costs more than help for writing a fiction book based on the AFA rates here. $61 to $70 per hour. So again, or 11 cents to 15 cents per word. So let's look at 30,000 words times 15 cents. You're going to pay about $4,500 for that, US dollars. And each page, if you're looking at by the page or per hour, is 1 to 3 pages. And then if you're writing a business book, it's the same, $61 to $70 an hour. If you're writing a medical book or a STEM book, it's $61 to $70 per hour. If you're writing a journalism book, it's $51 to $60 per hour. If you're just writing work for hire, other book on average is $51 to $60 per hour. Or other kinds of book is $41 to $45 per hour. And then per word is also given. There's anywhere between 9 cents and 0.9 cents, sorry, and 50 cents, or 50 cents per word. So on average there, using the EFA rate, it really would be between $3,000 and $5,000 for ghostwriting a book of up to 30,000 words. So there you have it. So on average, though, if you were to ask ChatGPT and research, it is going to give you about 4,500. So you get a steal of a deal if you choose to get your book written and published through the Authorpreneur Secret Academy. And we stay true to our mantra of helping you to write and publish cost effectively, because we would be, in some cases, 50% less than those other services. And the product quality is similar because of our special techniques that we use in the process. And the mission is to raise up to 10,000 entrepreneurs from the Caribbean region and the diaspora. And one of the reasons why it is at that cost is that a US dollar carries more weight in our region. So whereby somebody in the US look at maybe $2,300 or $3,000 for ghostwriting, and it's not a lot of money. They may be wondering, is it a good service? In the Caribbean, that, or say in Jamaica, that $2,500 is a lot of money. The average person can't do that. 2,500 US dollars in Jamaican is, call it $390,000. That's a lot of money, and the average person doesn't even have 300,000 in a bank account. So that is why those who do the ghostwriting are usually entrepreneurs or leaders, you know, in the industry. It is not cheap. It is better when you write it yourself. But, you know, busy leaders and entrepreneurs don't have any time, but maybe one client will bring them back their money, so it is worth it. And so now you know the extent of the cost. I trust that you found this episode helpful and useful. Share it with a friend, and don't forget to come to the Authorpreneur Summit. The promos are going out, and just go to the summit page, the schedule page, authorpreneursecrets.com/summit schedule, and you see a breakdown of all our speakers. Michael Laron is the only non-Caribbean person on the summit. We're going to adopt him, you know? So this is Ruth Taylor reminding you that of making many books, there is no end. That's Ecclesiastes 12:12b. So go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now until next time.